Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Silver Track Extra. If you're in the security industry and looking for ways to improve your guard management, retain more customers, win more contracts, and give your business the upper hand against your competitors, then you've come to the right place. It's our goal, passion, and purpose to provide you with amazing tools and resources to help grow and improve your security
Johnny
company.
Page
So
here
be sure
and
to
Chris
visit us at
Anderson on episode number 68 of the Silver
for
Track
articles
Extra.
based on each episode.
Today we're going to
and
talk
tons of
about
free
is your
resources.
company
Here
culture
are your
attracting
hosts,
the right
Chris
security
Anderson
officers.
and Johnny Page.
And Chris, this subject kind of branches out of a recent ebook that we've released on why do good security guards quit. And it was a topic that really exploded on social media and in several LinkedIn discussions. And so what that tells us is that it's a topic that's near and dear to your heart, Silver Track Nation. And so we wanted to take a deeper dive into this. Obviously, turnover creates a huge problem in the security industry. It's where a majority of our headache comes from in the guard management side of the business, finding good employees, keeping good employees. So we wanted to take a deeper dive today and say, is your company a culture really attracting the right security officer? And Chris, this is something I know I've heard you mention it hundreds of times, both on the podcast and off of the podcast, about creating a culture that really shows your employees that you care, and that really helped you when you owned your security company attract the right employee.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, the first evaluation, they came in the door, I just checked. If they had a heartbeat, I pulled them in.
Right.
If they had a heartbeat, I pulled them in, and that was the first step. But yeah, the big part is going to be the presentation, right? How you set yourself up, how do you do your advertisements. We talked about this in the past, because the security officer itself with technology is already going on Facebook. They're looking about your company. Are you an employee type company, or are you just looking for the mass? So they're looking, and you gotta have that up front.
Yeah, I guess a good place to start here is to define what is a company culture. And if we were to Google this, we could find 30 different definitions. But I think the one that there's a few that I like and that I think really hold true. And the first is that the company culture are sort of the intangibles of a company, right? There's things that you can say, but there are things that your company will embody that may be different than what you actually say. So do you really go out and do the right thing when nobody's looking? Like those type of intangibles. Your company culture, basically, I think if you could imagine this, if your company culture is strong, then me as an employee of your company, I will turn around and act to your customers and to people out in the public on behalf of your company. I'll be an extension of your company. I will embody all the culture of your company, the values, the mission statement, all of that. I will be an extension of your company if your company culture is strong. If the company culture isn't strong, I'm basically going to be watching out for me as an employee. I'm not going to really care too much about the company. I'm not going to care too much about the owner or the management staff, because I don't really feel like they have my back, right? There's not a strong culture. There's not strong values. I really don't know them from Adam. I don't know that they're going to have my back if certain things happen. So when I'm out on my post, I'm watching out for number one, right? So I think that's the difference here. So if our company culture can attract the right customer, can attract the right security officer that would feel like they're a part of something bigger, they're a part of something they want to be a part of long term, this can really, we don't need to go too far into it. This could save us hundreds of thousands of dollars over the life of our business, right, Chris?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, it starts right when they come in the door. Okay, I'm going to go back a little bit. Remember how big mission statements were 15 years ago?
Yeah.
Remember when everybody's building a site, everybody goes, "Oh, you got to have the mission statement. What are your core values?" Right? Well, does anybody follow that mission statement? Whether it's taking care of your employees, what is your mission as a company? But I'll tell you right now, when a guard walks in your door, he's going to look at your house, and he's going to see whether your house is dirty or whether your house is clean, whether you're organized immediately. He knows, because a lot of them are professional security guards, right? They're changing from jobs to jobs to jobs. So you got to do your homework when they come in the door. But on top of that, when they walk in your door, they see your dirty secretary up front, treating the customers on the phone, calling people, right? Just, abusive on the phone. They got people flying out of the door with barely a jacket and a windbreaker, right? It's not very exciting, John. And it really starts from there. And I tell guys all the time, make sure you set up times and you're bringing people in so you can attract the right officers. Give them the attention they need. It's not a matter of just filling an application, hiring them 15 minutes into the process and sending them out to the job.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be a telltale sign to a quality officer. See, what we're talking about here is when the right guy comes in, when the good officers, the few and far between, the ones that are out there who genuinely want to do a good job, they want to be with your company for a long time. When that guy walks in the door, what's your company doing to make sure that you're the company that he picks? Because you know he's doing multiple interviews, right? He's always looking until he finds a spot that he's happy. If he's a really quality officer, he's going to continue looking for the right company.
Yeah, and I hear you, but what I'm saying, when he comes in your door, though, right?
Oh,
a guy that's got it going on is like you, right? You know, if you were going to go out job, I know you'd be on the internet, you'd be searching, you'd be doing Facebook, you'd be looking like, how many contracts they have, where do they work, how long they've been around, what do they pay, what's their average turn. You'd be doing a lot of the homework up front, but a lot of these guys don't do the work, and there are some good quality guards, because today a quality guard to me is, and I think the listeners will agree to this, is just having a guy show up on time. Being accountable is such a great start. You can always take a strong, accountable employee and teach them the right things, right? Yeah. You really can. So
my thoughts are, when that guy walks in, the one who you're really looking for walks in the front office, is he going to notice that your receptionist really likes their job? Or is he going to think, man, they look miserable? And then when he sits down at the interview, is he going to talk to someone who really does love their job and loves the company they work for? Or is he going to talk to someone who's just watching the clock, hiring another dumb guard, and just can't wait to get out of there? Right? So what is the, just in that experience alone, you could see how you can start attracting poor officers, the ones who will just take any job, or you can attract the quality officers. And then we can go into, how about the uniforms that they're wearing, or the posts that they're staffing, all of that. Like, this all contributes to the company culture, and it all contributes to the type of officer that you're creating. Right, Chris, we've talked several times about the supervisors that are in the field, right? So they are going to really set the tone for how the officers will perform on site, right? So if your supervisor is very detail-oriented, that is a trickle-down effect, right? If they're very lazy, again, they set the standard for the rest of the officers in the field. All of this contributes to the company culture, and it contributes to the type of officers that you're creating, right? Chris, did you start to notice when you were throughout business that you kind of started to attract the same kind of personality type? Like there was a mold that somehow, whether it was good or bad, that somehow found its way to working for your company?
Yeah, in fact, it did. And I had, the biggest part was making, like I said, I had my managers even wearing uniforms, all right? My managers that were actually out in the field working, that were doing the hiring, were in uniform. The uniforms were tailored. They were clean. They were organized. They had a badge on them, right? So when the guys were coming in the door, they were actually meeting the people that they were going to meet out in the field, all right? It wasn't some suit and tie guy that could barely dress in the morning, right? They were meeting the field supervisor, manager that had manager skills. And I spent the time to educate these guys, to conduct a good interview, share the mission statement, and then even take them for a ride if they wanted. They actually come out at night. They could actually go for a patrol ride and go out and look at the accounts and look how we conduct our business.
Yeah.
That really worked for me.
Yeah. Well, Silvertrack Nation, we're going to take a quick break and mention our sponsors over at Paperless Proposal. And I'll tell you, I've been using their software now for about a month and a half. One of the things that I love is that it has really helped us build consistency in our proposals. And I know that this would be a major benefit for a lot of you, our listeners, as well. How many of us have 10 different versions of our logos, different paragraphs in our proposals? One may say we have 10 years of experience. The next one may say we have 7 years of experience. Really, what Paperless Proposal allows us to do is establish one content library of different pieces that can be used in all of our proposals. Really helps streamline the proposal generation process. So if this sounds like a problem that you have, or if Paperless Proposal sounds like a tool that may be interesting to you, I encourage you to visit paperlessproposal.com/Silvertrack and request a demo with their team, and take advantage of a special offer that they have available for our listeners here at the Silvertrack Extra. Well, that does it for our sponsors at Paperless Proposal. Let's jump right back in to our featured conversation. I hear this quite often. Oh, well, we don't spend that much money on uniforms we don't give the guards that much because most of them end up leaving in 90 days, right? The turnover is so high. Well, I would venture to say that which comes first, right? Is it because the officer's treated poorly that he leaves so quickly? And so they don't feel like they're part of the company because you're giving them like the bare minimum? Or is it that you have such high turnover? You see what I'm saying? Like, are your costs going high because you're treating the officers poorly, or because you're not spending enough money to really show them that you care about them being a part of your company? You see what I'm saying? Like, a lot of guys now, I don't think they do. I think they're sewing on the patch. There's not any they don't have the badge. The uniform is the bare minimum. I don't think that it's like when you owned your business anymore for most of these companies. Now, the companies that it is like that for, you can tell in a heartbeat, the ones that look really clean just from a uniform perspective. But I think right now there's a really low amount invested in the single officer, because there's this thought in the back of the head of the management of these security companies that they're just this guy's going to be gone in 6 months or a year. I'm not going to invest in a quality uniform, because they're not going to be around.
Yeah, it's poor management, John. A lot of the guard companies today, you and I've seen them, we've talked to them, they just don't have the managing skills or the background. If they set the tone up front, I had Class A uniforms, and you would be amazed the type of employees that came over just because we looked so great in the field. Believe it or not, they loved to get that badge. They loved that uniform. They felt good. I didn't buy them a Class B pant when they threw it in the washer the first time, or their uniform shirt in the washer. It looked like heck, right?
Yeah.
This, again, that's the very foundation of the company, is just showing your new employer applicant that you guys care. That is a big part and the big attraction of keeping these people long term. It really is.
Yeah, no, I agree. It matters a ton to your morale, what you look like when you go to work, the name that you put on it. You want to be proud of the company's name that you put on your, when you're putting on the uniform. I mean, I know just personally, so after the trade show, we got all of, our team at SilverTrack, we all got t-shirts and collared shirts, all with SilverTrack. I'm extremely proud to wear that, so much hard work and sweat and passion go into it. I would wear. My wife told me the other day, "Hey, you gotta start wearing some other shirts because you're wearing your SilverTrack shirts all the time." Right? I would get it tattooed on me. Right? Like I love what I do, and I don't think it's far fetched to think that an officer, when they go to work, they're already making sacrifices to be in this profession, anyways. Right? It's not the highest paying profession. Maybe they have sucky hours. They're already making sacrifices. They're going to want to put on a uniform that they're proud of, right? And work for a company that they could confidently say, I know we do a good job. Our company, we're the best guard company out there in our area. So let's make sure that you have a culture that attracts that officer.
Okay,
right?
Now here you go. I'm going to say this, a lot of people are going to hear this and go, well, you don't understand. Well, we do. Here's what it is. If you are a guard company that's taking on huge contracts all the time, right, you got to put 50, 60 people in, right? I get it. They don't have the time to go in there and focus on every employee. The idea is to bring them in so you can cover the contract. I get that. And when you're doing those kind of contracts, I think you should go to a B uniform where you can get it out. They can look reasonable because there is going to be a high turn. The accounts that you're attracting, I think everybody knows. And I'll give G4 their plug on this, all right? You go look at a G4 guard, right? And look what they're wearing. Hats. They're wearing the shirts. They're tailored. Do you see them at the trade show?
Yeah,
heck
yeah.
Yeah, now they have models, and they're
yeah, not even at the trade show. They look good, like down at the train station when you go. Like they're solid.
Do. Yeah, and let me tell you something. Some kid that's walking by and seeing that uniform that's halfway shaped, what do you think? Especially if he comes from the military. He's already programmed, right? Tailor, take care of the uniform. So it goes to show you, if you want to attract and keep them, you got to be proud. They got to be proud to wear that uniform, like you talked about, SilverTrack.
Yeah, and I know it wasn't our intent to land on the uniform discussion. We should definitely get into this on another episode. But here's a quick thought: which do you think came first for G4? Do you think they got really big and then started buying nice uniforms? Or do you think that when they were grassroots, small company, that they said, you know what, we're going to put the best of the best out in the field?
I think G4, and I remember when G4 came to town, they were wearing the khaki tan brown ones with the Smokey the Bear hat, and everybody laughed and said, you'll never get anybody to wear that Smokey the Bear hat, right? Which is true, right? You couldn't put that on some 3'2" fat guard, right? Look like Yogi the Bear walking down the street, right? So you have to attract a better people. But G4 is not working some ghetto apartment complexes in East Los Angeles either, right? They're working more the high-rise commercial where they have a lot of visibility, right? And they're looking at the company, because you got to remember, all these people that are coming to your contracts that see your guard, that you're advertising yourself.
Yeah.
You are. And again, I don't want to get into the uniform side. I know we are, but it all goes back again to what kind of contracts you're servicing. Are you doing the proper management in the office? It all starts from there, because if you're sloppy up front and as you grow, you're going to still be a sloppy company. So you got to develop good habits and adapt, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is, if you're a security company owner and you're wondering how your company culture is impacting the officers that you're attracting, I would take a minute and look at what it looks like for an officer that's being hired on for your company, or what it looks like in the first couple of interactions with the company, and just ask yourself, could I change a few things, or like what product is this producing, right? Like, which guard would be attracted to this? Is it going to be a guard that's really pays attention to detail, or is it going to be a guard that sort of lazy, right? So just look at it, and then it's just making some small tweaks. We're not talking about something crazy that has to happen here, nothing drastic, just a small thing like the receptionist is really smiling, very welcoming at the front desk. That could change a whole lot, just from the start.
Yeah. John, here's something for people to think about. You can almost kind of like mystery shop your operations people, right? You could have somebody that's halfway intelligent from college, pay them to come in and go through the entire hiring process, and then write about the experience they had in your office, from application to return phone call to getting hired, right? Yeah. And evaluate your own company. Have somebody go in and do that, and they'll tell you. Yeah. Take an outside look about your company and the experience and their thought when they came in the door. It's a great way to take a look at your company and learn about how you get, if you're doing it right. If
you're serious about improving, that's certainly a great option.
Yep.
Well, Chris, we did something pretty cool this past week, and we kicked off what we call our weekly roundup. It's an email that goes out once a week that will have one of our free resources, so our ebooks, or our webinars, our kits, calculators, all that. It will have one of those resources, and then it will have the week's podcasts and blogs that were published the week before. We had an amazing response from the first roundup that went out. So go to our website and subscribe to that. Make sure that you don't miss out on any of our content. We'll send it straight to your inbox once a week. We won't spam you. It's nothing salesy. It's simply the content that we take the time to generate here at Silvertrack to help you become a better security company, whether you're a customer of Silvertrack or not. Go and subscribe, get that weekly roundup. I think your company will be better for it, and we certainly appreciate you taking the time to listen here on episode number 68. So you can view all of the show notes for this episode at silvertracksoftware.com/68. There are always things that we didn't include on the podcast that are in the article, and vice versa. So be sure to check that out. And until next time, my name's Johnny Page.
I'm Chris Anderson.
This was the Silvertrack Extra, and we'll talk to you soon.